Hi, welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats with GourmetQuilter. So this year we're doing a whole series of treats during 2020 and each one of them has 20 parts. So this time we're working on some house sampler blocks. So we've actually got 20 to make. We've actually already made 10, so life's doing pretty well. This is the block that we're going to make this time. They're going to end up like this with a roof on them so that they look like houses, but that comes later. And today, because we're doing that block, if you had registered on my website on GourmetQuilter.com to receive the pattern, you'll have a pattern page that tells you how to cut everything out and how to make the block, as well as this video. So we'll just go through it now. I've already cut my pieces out according to the pattern, and I've got some larger squares and smaller squares. So what we're going to do is really just sewing squares together, but just different sizes. So we need to make some little 4 patches. So on this block here, we need to make some little 4 patches for the corners. So I'm using 2 colours. I've got my background grey and then this darker colour. So just 4 little 4 patches, and then we can join it together again as a 9 patch, as we've been doing with some of the other blocks. So it's quite straightforward to sew the squares together. We can sew them in pairs. You can chain piece them through. So I'll go ahead and sew my patches together to make the little 4 patches, which, like I said, is quite straightforward. We're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we can just happily feed these little squares in, making plenty of little blocks. So these will be in pairs, then the pairs have to be joined together. So I'll go ahead and get them through to this stage and then show you the next stage. So I've done my little pairs and I'm pressing them. I'm pressing all the seams towards the darker colour, because we're going to need to turn them around to join them up into the little 4 patches, and if you iron all the seams one way, when you turn them around, some of them go the other way, and then we can nestle those seams at the joins. So now we've got all these little pairs of patches, and we just need to join them up into the little 4 patches. And so, as I said, I've pressed all the seams into the dark colour. So when I turn them around so that you get the little opposite colours, those seams will go in opposite directions so that we can nestle them together as we sew them, and then we get a nice join at the point. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these up now. So I've joined up my little pairs into little 4 patches. They're so cute. I like these little 4 patches. And I'm just pressing those seams just one way again, so that we've now got our squares ready to lay out our block, so that we get everything right. So it's important to turn these around the right way so that the colour's coming in, because the centre patch is the colour, and we want that chain to follow through as if it was a chain. If you had lots of these blocks, you'd end up with a chain going through. So by laying everything out like that, I can see that I've now come back to having a little 9 patch type block, 3 rows of 3 squares to join together, as we've been doing in the past with other blocks. So I'm going to go ahead now and join up my little block into 3 rows, and then join the 3 rows together, and then we'll need to put the surrounds on those walls for those houses. So I've joined my little rows of squares together into 3 little rows, and I'm just pressing those seams. So this time I'm pressing the seams in opposite directions, so that, generally speaking, the seams are going the way they want to go, because there's a seam coming into here. It's going to want to press fairly naturally that way, so that's what I'm doing. So these 2 are going into that one, which means that one is 2, and so these ones I've pressed the seams out the other way, because when we put our block together we want those to alternate. So these seams are going that way, these seams are going that way, and these are going that way, so that when we sew those rows together, our seams will nestle nicely. So I'm going to go ahead now and sew my seams together. So I've sewn my 3 rows together, and I'm pressing those seams all in one direction. And there's the block looking good. It now needs the surrounds put on. I've already got these here, so I need to put the two sides on first, and then the top and the bottom, and then my house walls are in place, and roofs will come later. Thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just sewing the last side of the frame onto the block, and now it's ready for pressing again. So I'm pressing the seams into the frame. And there we have our block 11, looking pretty good, looking quite a lot like the one up on the wall, I hope. Yes. So that's block 11 done out of our 20. So we're more than halfway now, which is always an exciting position to be in. So that was it for the house sampler blocks for block 11, and we'll see you again for block 12.